The topic for today is become a listed company through SME IPO. How you can become a listed company. There was a myth prevailing in the market. We'll talk about that. But before that, I would like to welcome you all for attending this meeting. That shows that you are committed to grow your business beyond expectations. Okay? You could have been spending this time, this beautiful evening with your family. You could have been going for a dinner or somewhere, or spending quality time with your kids, your family members and loved ones. But since you're attending this meeting, that shows that you are quite serious about the growth of your business. Okay. Now, what is an IPO? An IPO is an event wherein any company offers its equity shares to the public for subscription. That means in the IPO, a company goes public, and after the IPO, it becomes a public listed company. Okay. We'll be talking about it. There's a myth prevailing in the market. Most of the entrepreneurs, they think that only big companies can come out with an IPO. It was true a few years ago, though the concept of SME IPO started around 10, 12 years ago, but it was not very common, and investors were not putting in their money. And the promoters were managing to subscribe the SME IPOs through their own sources, through their own contacts. Okay. But during last 2 years, it has picked up momentum. And now, even small investors, institutional investors, they are all putting their money, investing their money into SME IPOs. Okay. And you can get listed on National Stock Exchange or Bombay Stock Exchange and unlock value in your business and create wealth for your business as well as for you. Okay. Now, you may be surprised that during the year 2022, 107 SME companies got listed and they raised 1,900 crores from the market. And this figure is 142% higher than the last year. That means 2021. Okay. So now, let me tell you briefly about this meeting. This webinar is going to last for around 90 minutes. Mainly it's going to be in English and a little bit of Hindi. But the English is going to remain very simple so that everyone can understand it. Okay. Now, this webinar is meant for growth-hungry entrepreneurs. Those small business owners, those medium business owners who want to grow their business and get their company listed, this webinar is meant for them. Okay? We are not going to discuss unnecessary things, no unnecessary gyan, no fluff. Only actionable stuff is going to be discussed here, right? If you've got any questions, I request you to keep the questions with you, because at the end of the webinar, we'll be having a separate session for questions and answers. At that time, you can ask your questions, because asking questions in between is going to interrupt the flow of the webinar. Okay? So keep your questions with you for the question answer session. What I expect from you? I expect that nobody is going to spam here. I've seen in various webinars, some people have got the habit of putting up their phone numbers or their email IDs or Instagram IDs in the chat box. That is not going to serve any purpose except a distraction for yourself and others. So I expect that you will not be spamming here. Okay. Since you are attending this webinar, I expect you to attend till the end, because half knowledge is always dangerous, right? And I expect that you will be giving full focus to it so that you can understand the concept properly. If you want, you can take notes for reference in the future, right? Now, one question: what is the biggest challenge for SMEs? When I say SMEs, that means small and medium enterprise. What is the biggest challenge? What is the biggest problem? Tell me in the chat box. What is the biggest problem? No fund. Finance. No more answers. Funding. Debt. More answers, please. There are around 97 people in the room and only 4-5 people are answering. No more answers? Come on, fast. Knowledge, diluting stake, slow growth, meeting the criteria of listing, fundraising. So the crux is, thank you everyone. The crux is that the biggest challenge for SMEs is funding. पैसा नहीं है तो business नहीं है. Because in business, you always need funds. Whether you are a large scale business owner or a small scale business owner or a medium scale business owners, funding is the most crucial aspect. Without funding, it's like running on an empty tank. Suppose you are driving a car, enjoying the ride, and suddenly you look at the meter and you see that it's going to be, the fuel is going to finish. So what happens? You have to push your car or somebody else has to push your car to the filling station to get it filled. Okay. Similarly, in business, for day-to-day business as well as for growth, you need funding. If you don't have sufficient funding in your business, it becomes difficult to run the business. That's well known. I don't have to explain it. All of you understand this properly. Okay. So running a business without funding is something which should not be there and which is very, very cumbersome, which is very troublesome. Okay. So what happens when there is a shortage of funds? Most entrepreneurs, they opt for debt funding, that is loans, maybe from banks, from institutions, or from other sources like their friends, relatives, family members, etc., etc. Okay. But whatever the source is, a loan always has an element of interest. And normally the interest cost keeps on increasing, interest rates keeps on increasing, and that's a heavy burden for the business owner, right? In a way, you are working for your bank. You are not working for yourself. Suppose you have got a business in which you are enjoying 10 crores as funding from banks or institutions or from other sources. So the normal interest you have to pay during 1 year is around 1.5 crore. That is the interest which you pay. Suppose you are making a profit of 2 crores, out of which a huge portion goes towards payment of interest. Okay. And if there is any delay in the EMI or repayment of the debt, then you know the problems are there. You invite serious problems from the banks and the institutions, right? So what happens? Where you are and where you want to be. You are here, that is your comfort zone. You are running your business with whatever means you have, your own investment and whatever debt funding you have. You are running your business with that and you feel comfortable. Some entrepreneurs, they don't want to go beyond their means and they don't want to grow further and they are satisfied कि जो चल रहा है ठीक है यार, बहुत है और क्या करना. Okay. But that is not a correct thing. That is not right. Everybody has to think about growth, because if you are not growing, you are dying. Remember my words. Either you grow or you perish. There is nothing like constant. Nothing is constant in life. So either you are growing or you are dying. Similarly, if your business is not growing, that means it's going to die sooner or later. So what is the way out? There is a place where magic happens, where growth happens, where exponential growth can be expected. And most of the entrepreneurs, they want to move from this comfort zone to this place where magic happens. But the journey from this place to this place is not easy. It's like an ocean wherein you will find lots of sharks and other animals. Okay. So the journey is not easy. You cannot just swim and reach there. So what happens? What do you need? You need a boat or a yacht which can carry you from your comfort zone to the place where the magic happens. right? And this yacht or boat can be an SME IPO, which can give you funds to run your business smoothly, right? Now, there's a big question. There's a big question. I'm asking this simple question to all of you. Take a scenario wherein you have got a company with a net worth of 10 crore, which is an unlisted company with a net worth of 10 crore, and you are the 100% owner of your company. This is scenario one. Scenario two, you have got a listed company. You get the same company listed with a 10 crore net worth. When you go for the IPO, you have to shell out or say liquidate 25% equity shares to the public. So now 75% shares remain with you. So in the second scenario, you are the owner of 75% shares in a company, and the net worth of the company being 10 crore, the valuation is 100 crore. So which scenario is a better option? Scenario A or scenario B? Which is a better option? A or B? Obviously, scenario B is a better option, because though you are holding only 75% of the company, you are owning only 75% of the company, but the sorry, the valuation of the company is 100 crores, not 10 crores. Net worth, again, I tell you, is 10 crores, but the valuation is 100 crores, the market value, say 100 crores. So you own 75 crores worth of equity shares in your company. So that is the difference between a listed company and an unlisted company, right? Now, why most companies are not going for IPOs? Because most of the SME entrepreneurs, they are not aware that there is a way out whereby they can unlock value in their business and create wealth for themselves. Okay, there is an alternate source. What is that? The alternate source is IPO. But you may have a question. You may think that we are not big enough to go for an IPO. So my dear friends, let me tell you, now the things are changed. Now even small can dream big. Even if you are a small company, you can think of an SME IPO. How? We are going to discuss all this in a short while. Okay. You may be surprised to know that all the top companies, if we take the example of 5,000 top companies, what is common factor? What is the common factor in the top 5,000 companies? The common factor is all of them are listed on one or more stock exchanges. So getting listed is creating liquidity and unlocking value for you, for your business, for your investors, right? So if you want to grow, you have to think about getting listed on a stock exchange. And now the opportunity is right. The time is right to go for SME IPO, because earlier SME IPOs were not being subscribed. Now the things have changed and investors are putting their money in SME IPOs as well. Okay. What is there in this webinar for you? We are going to talk about eligibility norms. That means who can come out with an SME IPO? What are the steps involved in getting listed, or say in bringing out an SME IPO? What strategies are required? What preparations are required? What are the benefits? Why should you go for SME IPO? Okay, and what are the best practices, etc., etc. Right? So now, what are the pain points? Earlier we talked about what is the biggest pain point. There are other pain points also. So we are going to talk about this, right? What are the other pain points as SMEs? Since you are short of funds, you have got limited access to funds. Your growth is also limited. Okay. With limited funds, with limited finance, you cannot think of exponential growth. If you want to go for growth in your business, you need funds. And for that, you have to have various sources of funding. You may go for debt, you may go for SME IPO. The choice is yours. Okay. If you are unlisted company, a normal company, you don't have any valuation. You don't have any valuation. As the example given a few minutes ago, Suppose the net worth of your company is 10 crores, that is 10 crores. But after getting listed, the valuation is there as per the market rate. Whatever is the market rate of your shares, that determines the valuation of your business, right? Unlisted companies are not recognized anywhere, though you may be having all the necessary government approvals, certificates, but the banks, institutions, other people, they are not going to recognize you. Once you get listed, you become recognizable. Okay. Then there is no wealth creation. Suppose you are adding 2 crores as profit, that is the only addition to your wealth. Only that profit which you are making, nothing more. But by going for the SME IPO, your market valuation creates wealth for you, right? As the example given earlier, even if the net worth is 10 crores, your company's valuation can be 50 crores, 100 crores, 500 crores, maybe more than that. So that is the magic. Okay. Then before the IPO, you want to grow your business, since all SME entrepreneurs have got limited access to funds, so you have to go for debt. Loan lena padta hai, you know. When you go for debt, a heavy debt burden is there. The more you want to grow, the more the loan grows. Okay, and that is a big burden for entrepreneurs. The interest outgo is quite substantial, and that affects your day-to-day working, right? And most of the companies which are not listed, since compliances are less, you don't have proper systems and controls in your business. Some entrepreneurs, they are afraid of compliances, but my dear friends, if you want to grow, compliances has to be there. You cannot ignore compliances, right? Now, one question. How many large companies are there in India? When I say large companies, that means companies with a turnover of more than 250 crores. Companies with more than 250 crores. How many large companies are there? Any answers? Any guesses? I'm not testing your knowledge. Just to make the things a bit interesting, I'm putting this question. Hello? Any answers? Any guesses? 1,500, 15,000. Any more answers? Any more guesses, please? 10,000 plus, 20,000, 100. Any more answers? 5,000. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the response. Well, the number is 15,000 plus. More than 15,000 companies are there in India with turnover of 250 crore plus. Okay. And how many of these are listed? How many of these 15,000 plus companies are listed? Any guesses? How many of them are listed? Approximately 5,000. Any more guesses? 10%. 500, 7,500. Any more answers, please? 700 plus. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Well, the number is 6,000 plus companies. Out of 15,000 plus companies, 6,000 plus companies are listed with a turnover of 250 crore plus, right? You may be surprised and you may feel honored that India is having the largest number of listed companies in the world. No other country has got listed companies equivalent to India. India is the only company having the largest number. Okay. Now, we come to the SME sector. How many SMEs are there? When I say SMEs, that means companies with turnover between 5 crore and 250 crore. कितनी कंपनीज हैं इंडिया में जिनका टर्नओवर 5 करोड़ से ऊपर है और 250 करोड़ से नीचे है? कितनी कंपनीज हैं? हाउ मेनी कंपनीज? एनी गेसेस? Come on fast. 3 lakhs. Okay. 80,000. Okay. 1 lakh plus. More answers? More answers, please. As I told you earlier, I'm not testing your knowledge. This is just to make the discussion a bit interesting because this is a dry subject. 290, 3 lakhs, 1.5 lakhs. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the answers. The exact number is 3 lakhs plus. There are more than 3 lakhs companies in India having a turnover between 5 crores and 250 crores. Now, how many of these companies are listed? ये 1.5 लाख में से 3 लाख में से कितनी कंपनीज लिस्टेड हैं? Out of these 3 lakhs plus companies with a turnover of 5 lakhs to 250 lakhs, 1,000. How many companies are listed? कितनी companies listed हैं? 500. Okay. Okay, come on. 1.2 lakhs. Any more answers? 1,500. More answers, please. Less than 2%. Okay. Thank you for guessing. Well, the answer is 700 plus. 700 plus companies out of 3 lakhs companies in the SME sector are listed. Why such a small number? Why? Why such a small number? Because on both Bombay Stock Exchange as well as National Stock Exchange, only 700 plus companies are listed. And you may be surprised to know that the market capitalization of these listed companies, these SME companies which are listed, is 1.5 lakh crores. 1.5 lakh crore का इनका valuation. 1.5 lakh crore. Or her company, the total funds these companies raised, these 700 plus companies raised 10,000 crores from the market. And the 10,000 crores which they raised from the market has enabled them to create market valuation, market capitalization of 1.5 lakh crore. 1.5 lakh crore का इनका valuation हो गया. Okay. And out of these 700 companies, 200 plus companies, 250 plus companies has migrated to the main board. That means they have moved from the SME segment to the main stock exchange segment. Okay. The average valuation per company, if we look at, is 100 crore plus. Average valuation of all these companies is more than 100 crores per company. And average funds they raised was just 12.4 crores. 12.5 करोड़ से कम हर कंपनी ने पैसा रेज किया एवरेज, जिसकी वैल्यूएशन आज कितनी है टोटल कंपनीज की? 1.5 लाख करोड़. इंडिविजुअल कंपनी एवरेज 100 करोड़ प्लस. ओके. व्हाट आर द रीजंस? इतना कम कंपनीज क्यों लिस्टेड है एसएमई में? व्हाट आर द रीजंस? लेट्स लुक एट दैट. लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस. लोगों को मालूम ही नहीं है, पता ही नहीं है कि देयर इज ए सोर्स, अल्टरनेट सोर्स for funding. Okay, that is one reason. Lack of knowledge. Even if they know about this, they don't know how to do that, and there are very few professionals who can guide them through the process, who can do the hand holding. Okay. Lack of information. Though the government and the stock exchanges are doing lots of programs, but those programs are not enough for the common man, for the small entrepreneurs to know about the integrities, right? Lack of education. So many of the SME entrepreneurs, they are not highly educated. So it becomes difficult for them to understand the things involved in getting listed. Okay. Most of them are afraid, even if you're aware about the process, about the opportunity, most entrepreneurs fear about the IPO process because they don't know how the things are going to be done and how they are going to handle the listed companies in future. Handling listed companies in future is not a big deal, but getting it listed, getting money invested from the investors is the crux. Okay. Now, Another reason is indecisiveness. They are not able to decide. सोच नहीं पाते हैं कि करें या नहीं करें, करें या नहीं करें. I got so many clients who are there in the pipeline. एक बार फोन आता है सर करना है, एक बार फोन आता है सर करें कि नहीं करें, फिर फोन आता है सर करना है, फिर फोन आता है सर वो मेरे को इसने बोला, उसने बोला, मेरे बेटे ने बोला, मेरे पार्टनर ने बोला, compliances बढ़ जाएंगी in this that blah 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 blah. So my dear friends, if you want to grow, compliances are going to be there, and if you are afraid of compliances, I'm afraid to tell you that it will be difficult for you to grow. If you want to grow, don't fear compliances. There are professionals who can take care of the compliances part, right? Now, after this webinar, you will be having all the basic awareness, knowledge, and information about SME IPOs, right? So those who don't know me, let me tell you briefly about me. I'm a chartered accountant with a experience of around 44 years plus. I have been doing project consultancy and funding from banks and institutions. For around 8 years, I published a financial weekly newspaper called Money Media during the 90s. I have advised dozens of companies, SME companies, in their IPOs. And Canterville, all of you must be knowing, is a popular brand. The Canterville IPO was handled by me single-handedly. I was their sole advisor, and I helped them raise 105 crores from the market. Okay. Now I'm on a mission to help 1,000 SMEs achieve growth in their business through SME IPOs. So who wants to be a part of this journey? Who wants to come out with an SME IPO? Come on, tell me. Those who want, say me, say me in the chat box. Come on. Come on. Very good. 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 Yes, in this year. Good, good, good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Now, why you get listed? What is the purpose of SME IPO? What is the purpose? What is the purpose of SME IPO? There can be two different purposes. One is getting listed. There are entrepreneurs, SME entrepreneurs also, who have got deep pockets or who has got friends, relatives, family members, distributors, dealers network, which is ready, who are ready to put their money in the IPO. So they want to get listed, but they don't want to raise funds from the general public, from the retail investors, from the HNIs, because they have got their own sources, their own people, maybe their friends, family members, their distributors, dealers, and other network, which is interested to invest in their company. Okay. And the other type of IPOs are where you want to get listed. You become a listed company, as well as you raise funding from the public, from the retail investors, from the institutional investors, right? So there are two types. Now, both SME segments are open for you on Bombay Stock Exchange as well as National Stock Exchange. You can get listed on either of these two. Some people ask, why not on both? That is not possible till the time you are in SME segment. You can get listed only on one, either National Stock Exchange or Bombay Stock Exchange. Okay. Now, why SME IPO? Because this is easier. This is easier as compared to the main board IPO for the bigger, which is for the bigger companies. SME IPOs are comparatively easier, and the eligibility criteria is also relaxed. There are less compliances. There are a lot of easiness in SME IPOs. Okay. When you go for an IPO, you can become a debt-free company. If you have got loans from banks or institutions or other sources, you can keep this thing as the object of the issue. If you want to repay the loan, that can be one of the objects of the issue. Okay. So you can become a debt-free company. Sorry. So you can become a debt-free company. You can raise money from the investors and pay off the debts if you want. Okay. You can multiply the valuation of your business many, many times. When I say many, many times, as you have seen in the example, and I'll be showing you some case studies wherein you will see how multiply valuation is done. Multiplying valuation is also possible when you go for public listing, when you go for the IPO. We'll show you some of the case studies and you will understand how multiplication is done, right? You can grow manifold and create wealth. Again, the same thing in a different manner. Because when you have got access to more funds, SME IPO is just the entry gate. Once you get listed, you can again go to the market after 6-8 months, another 6-8 months, another 6-8 months, and have more funding from the market at a higher valuation. Okay. So SME IPO is just the entry gate, right? The funds which you raise through the IPO, maybe normal IPO, main board IPO, maybe SME IPO, are not having any interest element. That means you don't have to pay any interest on the money which you raise through the IPO. And the money which is raised is not to be refunded. It's not refundable. If somebody wants to exit, he or she can sell his shares in the market, but he cannot ask you for a refund. He cannot come and say कि सब मैंने आपकी कंपनी में पैसा लगाया था, अपने शेयर वापस ले लो, मेरा पैसा दे दो. No, no way. Okay, he can sell the shares and get his money, right? Then whosoever is the investor in your business, they get an option of easy liquidity. They can sell their shares in the market. They don't need your permission and they can get an exit. Okay? Your shares become like a currency. It's getting a company listed means whatever shares you have with you, because normally you offer 25% shares to the public and remaining 75% shares are with you. So at any point of time, if you need funds for your business or for your personal needs, you can sell your shares or a small part of your shares in the market and get the money in your bank account within 24 hours. Okay. So that is just like having currency notes in your pocket. Once you get listed, your brand becomes more recognizable and you get brand value. Your brand gets enhancement. Why? Because every day the stock exchange is going to flash your company's name on their system. All the computers which are showing the stock market rates, your company's name is also going to appear there every day on which trading is done, right? Another benefit is that after 2 years of the SME IPO, you can migrate to the main board, that is main stock exchange. That time you can go to both National Stock Exchange as well as Bombay Stock Exchange, right? Then there are tax benefits. The company gets tax benefits, the promoter gets tax benefits, your investors gets tax benefits. Okay, so we are not going to discuss all the benefits which are available by way of taxes, but most of you must be aware that the companies in India are supposed to pay lesser tax or say lower rate of tax as compared to partnerships or individuals or say proprietors, right? Then free publicity, as I told earlier, you get free publicity, not on the stock exchange, not only the stock exchange. There are various broker websites or analyst websites or newspaper websites who will be willing to interview you and show your interview on their websites and even in the news also. If you are working remarkably good, news channels would also like to invite you for an interview. Okay, so that way you get free publicity. Then so many states in India are giving subsidy to meet part of the IPO expenditure. Some states are giving 5 lakhs rupees or some others are giving 10 lakhs rupees, but whatever is there, that is a subsidy amount from the state government, which you get to partly meet the IPO expenditure. Okay. And then the magic of capitalization, market capitalization is always there, that you will see in the case studies which we are going to show you very soon, right? Now, is it mind-boggling? Is it mind-boggling? किसका दिमाग का बत्ती जला? No, not mind-boggling. Very good. Is it mind-boggling? मजा आया? मजा आया? Good, good, good. Okay, let's move further. Now there's a question that why not main board? Why not to get listed on the main stock exchange, and why to go for SME IPO? So my dear friends, let's look at a comparative chart. If you go for the main board, that is as a normal IPO, your offer document or your prospectus, which is known as DRHP, has to be approved by SEBI. Okay. But in case of SME listing, the approval is from the stock exchange, where you want to get listed, Bombay Stock Exchange or National Stock Exchange. You don't have to go to SEBI, right? In case of SME IPO, minimum application size has to be 1 lakh rupees, whereas in main board IPOs, the normal minimum application size is 10,000 to 15,000. Okay. That means you have to deal with lesser number of investors. Then the post-issue paid-up capital after the IPO, in case of SME listing, it should not be more than 25 crores. It has to be less than that. And in case of main board, it should not be less than 10 crores. It has to be more than that. Then the biggest problem why it is not advisable or not feasible for the small companies to go for main board listing is that if you want to get your company listed on the main board, you have to have average profit before tax of 15 crore. Average profit before tax of 15 crore for the last 3 financial years. पिछले 3 साल में 15 करोड़ का एवरेज प्रॉफिट होना चाहिए, यानी 3 साल का मतलब 45 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट आपको पिछले 3 साल में हो. Only then you can think of the main board IPO. But here the beauty is that the SME listing, what is required is that you should be profitable in at least 1 year out of the last 3 years. If you are profitable in any of the 1 year out of the last 3 years, you are eligible. You are eligible. And furthermore, if you get listed as SME, after 2 years, you can migrate to the main board. So at that time, this 15 crore profit requirement is not there. Okay. Now, next difference is underwriting. In case of SME IPO, underwriting is 100% mandatory. Underwriting means there is somebody, some company or some individual who gives you a guarantee that in case your IPO is not subscribed, if investors don't put their money in your IPO or there is a shortage of applications, this person or this company who is underwriting will meet the discrepancy. He will get the IPO subscribed by putting in his own money. So that way you are assured that your IPO is going to succeed, right? Then in case of main board, underwriting is not mandatory. Though most of the IPOs, they have underwriting, but this is not mandatory. This is not compulsory. Okay. In SME IPO, you need minimum 50 applications. In main board IPO, you need minimum 1,000 applications. Okay. If you are SME listed, you have to file brief balance sheet half yearly. But in case of main board, you have to file quarterly comprehensive balance sheets. Quarterly, every quarter, every third month. हर तीसरे महीने आपको comprehensive balance sheet file करना पड़ता है main board में. But SME में only brief balance sheet is required to be submitted, abridged balance sheet. Okay, half yearly. Then market making is a concept whereby a broker or somebody else is authorized by the company or say appointed by the company to act as the market maker. The market makers normally subscribes to some of your shares, and every day in the morning they will be putting up buy and sell quotes in the stock exchange. Suppose your company's share price is around 50 rupees. He may put, I buy at 50 rupees, I sell at 52, 53, 54, 55, like that. Okay. So that creates an opportunity for the investors to buy and sell. If somebody wants to sell your shares, this market maker is there to purchase the shares if there is no other buyer. Okay. But this market making is not mandatory in case of main board. Okay. So these are the differences. That's why getting your company listed as SME is much, much more better as compared to the main board. Right? Now, what are the eligibility criteria? कौन लोग SME IPO ला सकते हैं? जो लोग जानना चाहते हैं, say me. If you want to know the eligibility norms, what are the criteria? Say me. Very good, very good. So most of you want to know what are the eligibility criteria, or say who can come out with an SME IPO, right? The first condition is that you should be in the business. Your business should be in existence for at least 3 years. 3 साल से पुराना business होना चाहिए. If your business is not more than 3 years old, you are not eligible. Okay, that is the first condition. Second condition is that you should have been profitable in at least 1 year out of the last 3 years. पिछले 3 साल में से किसी एक साल में profit होना चाहिए. Okay. There should be a positive net worth. It should not be a business with a negative net worth. Okay. In case of NSE listing, your net tangible assets should be at least 1.5 crores. 1.5 crore के net tangible assets होना जरूरी है if you want to get listed on National Stock Exchange. Okay. This is a beautiful thing that even non-company entities are eligible. Even if you are running a business as a sole proprietor or as a partnership firm or as an LLP, you can get converted into a limited company and get listed. That is allowed. Even if you are a sole proprietor or a partnership or LLP, you can get converted and get listed. Okay. Then there should not be any change in the promoters during last 1 year. This is also one of the conditions. And the company should have a website. And the paid up equity capital of the company should not be more than 25 crores after the issue. It should be below 25 crores. Okay. Now, who can, or say what type of business can be listed? Any business, whether it's a trading or manufacturing or a service industry, which is legally allowed to be carried on in the country, can get listed as an SME. If you just have a glance at this chart, you see various sectors from which companies are listed. Various sectors: food processing, consulting, media, entertainment, chemicals, iron, steel, agriculture and other, retail, education, oils, power, healthcare, so and so on, so on, so on, aluminium, blah, 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 blah. So if you are running any business which is legally allowed to be carried on in the country, you are eligible to get listed. But my dear friends, these are eligibility norms. Like if you want to get admitted in IIT, they say that you should have minimum 60% marks in your 12th grade. 12वीं क्लास में 60% marks होना चाहिए IIT में admission के लिए. But do you get admission with 60% marks? No, because that is the basic minimum which is required. How you get admitted? You have to compete with others. So in case of SME IPO also, you have to be compatible. You have to be compatible. You have to be good enough. Your company has to be investor friendly, has to have some value so that investors are interested to invest in your company. Okay. Having profit in one of the 3 years is the basic requirement, but it should be reasonably good profit. Okay. So there are things which are to be considered. Now, what is the process? If you want to know the process, say I. What is the process of SME IPO? If you want to know, say I. Very good, very good, very good. बाकी लोगों को नहीं चाहिए क्या? Come on, fast. Good. Thank you everyone. This is basically a 4-step process, 4-stage process. The first stage is that a feasibility report has to be prepared on the IPO. That is how big the IPO is going to be there, what valuation is going to be there, the IPO size, valuation, and other things. A feasibility report has to be prepared. Who will do that? You have to appoint IPO advisors, and for your information, we are acting as IPO advisors, and we are one of the leading IPO advisors in the country. Then you have to appoint lead managers, or say merchant bankers. The merchant bankers or the lead managers to the issue, they will prepare the feasibility report for your IPO. Okay. They will also be doing the due diligence that everything is in order as per the requirement of the government, as per the requirement of the stock exchange. Okay, they'll ensure. Then the offer document is compiled. The offer document means, you must have heard a term prospectus. When there is any company coming out with an IPO, there is a document, a booklet known as prospectus. And if you have seen any of the prospectuses, the prospectus is normally a book running into 400, 500, 600 pages. Okay, depending upon the size of the company, depending upon the business, depending upon how old the company is. Because everything about the company is mentioned in the offer document or the prospectus. Okay. Initially, this is known as draft red herring prospectus, DRHP. Okay. Once this is approved, this becomes red herring prospectus. Okay, so this has to be prepared. Then your balance sheets, profit loss account, your financial statements has to be reinstated. उनको दोबारा नए सिरे से stock exchange के format में दोबारा से fit करना पड़ता है, and that is done by certain specified chartered accountants who are known as expert in that particular area. Okay. Then the second stage comes, that is filing of the documents. In this stage, you appoint bankers who will be collecting your share application forms, because there are specified banks and even specified branches of those banks who will be accepting share applications at the time of your IPO. Okay, whether it's a main board IPO, whether it's SME IPO, the process is same. Okay. You have to appoint other intermediate also, like legal compliance officer, like registrars to the company, like advertising agency and marketing agency, etc., PR agencies, all of them has to be appointed. Okay. Once that is done, the DRHP, or say offer document, is filed with the stock exchange. The stock exchange will examine the documents. They will raise certain questions, queries, objections, and all those questions has to be answered. Will be done by the lead manager or the merchant banker, but naturally the information has to be supplied by you. Okay. After the review of the offer document, you get the approval, and then you have to file the approved offer document with the registrar of companies. Okay, that is just a formality. Now the third stage comes, wherein you have to prepare information for roadshows, because now is the time to market the issue, market the IPO. distribute the IPO. So that time you have to prepare presentations, roadshows, and everything. Okay. That time anchor investors are also selected. An anchor investor is somebody who takes a substantial part of the IPO, maybe 10%, 15%, like that. Okay. Then the IPO is opened. Normally the IPO remains open for 3 to 5 days, depending on your decision. Then you start receiving share applications or submits. And on the specified day, you close the IPO. And after that, the fourth stage comes, the allocation and allotment. Allotment of shares is done by the stock exchange. The stock exchange is there who will decide the basis of allotment. Your registrar to the issue will do all the allotment work, but that will be as per the guidance of the stock exchange, right? After allotment, you get approval for listing from the stock exchange. On the designated day, that is normally around 8-10 days after the IPO, your shares get listed on the stock exchange. Then payment is released to all the intermediaries, the remaining payment, whatever is to be paid, and the remaining funds are transferred to your normal bank account. So this is the process. So you receive the IPO funds, you become a listed company and enjoy the business. Now some case studies. We'll look at this chart. These are some of the companies, the top companies which came out with SME IPO during 2020. If we look at it, the first company came out with an IPO at a share price of 15 rupees per share, and the company is trading at around 206 rupees per share. So there's an appreciation of 1,274%. This is the appreciation. This is the market valuation. This way, the things take shape. 15 रुपए का शेयर 200 रुपए का हो गया है ना. 15 रुपए का शेयर, फेस वैल्यू 10 rupees, issue price 15 rupees, market value 200 rupees. That is the magic. Take another case. 45 rupees issue price, face value again 10 rupees, market price 560 rupees. So that is the way how valuation is unlocked, how valuation is multiplied, how you get the magic of market capitalization. These are the companies, top 10 companies which got listed in 2021, and you see the growth. 37 rupees IPO price, market price 684. This another company, 58 rupees IPO price, market price 872. This is the way how valuation is created, right? These are the companies which came out with IPO, SME IPO in 2022. And you see the valuation here in this chart. So these are some of the examples. And you may be surprised to know that investors' gain was much, much more in case of SMEs as compared to the main stock exchange. SME IPOs gave a return of 69%. 69% return in 2022. Whereas the Sensex, or to say the main stock exchange, it gave a return of just 4%. You see the kind of return the SME exchanges are giving. So this is the way how valuation is created. There is no shortage of money, only a shortage of people thinking big enough. So if you think big enough, this is the opportunity for you. This is how valuation is created. So you can come out with an IPO from 2 crores to 100 crores anywhere. It can be 2 crores, 5 crores, 6 crores, 8 crores, 10 crores, 15, 20, whatever. Sorry, I'm having a bad throat. Value creation, how value creation is done. Want to see the magic? Here is the magic. Now, what is a unicorn company? Do you know what is a unicorn company? What is a unicorn company? $1 billion. Any company with a market valuation or market capitalization of $1 billion is a unicorn company. And there are around 107 unicorns in India. 107. Okay. These are some of the companies which are unicorns. Now, this is a unique example. This is a unique example. This company, EKI Energy Services Limited, this company came out with an SME IPO in April 2021. In April 2021, with a market capitalization of just 96 crores. Okay. And in January 2022, it became a unicorn. It achieved the status of the unicorn company, having appreciation of 10,600%. Appreciation of 10,600% in just 9 months. Something very, very very, very rare. It's very rare, this kind of growth. But if you are confident, definitely you can beat this also. This person, Manish Dapkara, is the owner of this company. You can read about him on the exchange website or on other websites, and you can find out on LinkedIn or other places. Okay. Mind blown. Maza aaya. You may be surprised that in India, there are more than 10 crore Demat account holders. 10 crore Demat account holders, and you need only 50 investors minimum. So it's very easy to get the issue subscribed, but it has to be done in a proper way. So are you getting value for the investment which you have made? Are you getting value for your investment? You will say that we are attending this webinar free of cost. Definitely you are attending free of cost, but you have invested your time, you have invested your focus. So are you getting value for that? Are you getting value for that? Good, good, good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Now, what next? I've told you almost everything about this. What next? What is the next thing? Who is interested to go for an IPO? If you want to go for an IPO, do you need to learn the entire process? Do you need to learn the entire process? Like if you want to drive a car, what you are supposed to do is you have to learn driving. If you don't know, you have to learn driving, but you don't have to learn about the car. You don't have to be a mechanical engineer or a mechanic to drive a car, right? There are consultants, there are other people in the market who will say, we'll teach you this, we'll teach you that. And they may charge a lakh or two just for teaching all these things, and will keep you waiting for minimum 1 year. After that, they'll talk to you about your IPO. So the opportunity is there. Time cost is also there. Opportunity cost is also there. What you can do is that if you want to go ahead with your plans, you can have a 30 minutes Zoom call with me. 30 minutes one-to-one Zoom call. Okay. And I have kept a very small token amount for this. Just 1,000 rupees for 30 minutes one-to-one call. Zoom call in which you can select the date and time which is suitable to you. You can select the date and time which is suitable to you. You click on this link. I have given the link in the chat box.